AITA because I don't want my boyfriend to leave me with his 3 kids while he leaves for 10 days. My boyfriend, 50, and myself, 39, live together. Have been together for a year and a half. I have one 4-year-old daughter. He has 3 kids that are here every other week, ages 7, 10, and 14. The 7-year-old and 10-year-old have behavioral issues and ADHD. They are quite a handful for me. Who's adjusting to life with 4 kids when they're over? And I've had trouble bonding with them. I've caught the 10-year-old stealing from me a few times. And the 8-year-old is super hyperactive and needs consistent attention, and he's super loud. Boyfriend just told me he's leaving on a 10-day work trip. And 5 of these days his kids will be here. He's leaving this coming week. He hadn't asked if this was okay with me. He just told me this is what's happening. When I asked why I'm the last person to know, when I should be the first because I'll be watching his kids, he tells me referring to them as his and not ours is toxic. He volunteered to be one of the guys that goes for this work trip. He's a general laborer. I'm dreading these 5 days watching all 4 kids. It's an absolute madhouse, and I'm still trying to adjust to this new life with 4 kids as we haven't lived together long. AITA for wanting his kids to stay at their mother's for those 5 days? Or for him to come home on the week they come? NTA, you aren't their parent. They should stay with their mom those days if he's out of town. This is something that should have been discussed. Your NTA. He tells me referring to them as his and not ours is toxic. A year and a half in. You aren't married. And his kids are now your kids? I doubt their mom agrees with that. He's just throwing around a buzzword to shut down your valid argument. He is dumping his responsibility on you. And going back to his argument, I am willing to be that whenever you try to discipline those kids or lay down rules, they suddenly become his kids again, and you have no say in how they're handled. NTA. His custody time is for him to spend with his kids. They aren't coming over to see you. No offense. I can't imagine their mother would be thrilled with him dumping his responsibility on someone he's only been with for 18 months. He needs to either speak to the kid's mother and shift his custody weeks, arrange alternative childcare, or tell work that he cannot attend due to having to parent his kids. He's a general laborer, not a specialized engineer. They can easily find a replacement. Do not back down on this. NTA. This man is using you. He volunteered for this trip? He's going to enjoy away time with the guys and without the responsibility of looking after his own children. Edited 1 word. Don't let him do this. It sounds like he wants a live-in babysitter, not a partner. You haven't been together all that long. You aren't married. He is calling you toxic so he can place the blame on you for his behavior. You brought up a very valid concern and he spun it to paint you the odd. This should be considered a huge red flag. NTA. NTA. You aren't his wife even. In some countries, this may be like borderline illegal. E.g. at my current location, you wouldn't be able to take the kids to the hospital if they get sick without them being snatched by social services. 'Cause you are basically a random and their parents are nowhere to be seen. Just drop them off with their mom. You're not their parent. If the mom finds out he abandoned her kids on his custody time, how do you think that'll go over? He hadn't asked if this was okay with me. He just told me this is what's happening. There's the problem right there. I think the first point to be made here is even if you had married into this family, this isn't okay. It's inconsiderate and disrespectful. And you are not yet married, so they are not your kids. NTA. Please don't allow yourself to be treated like this. You're not the asshole, but you have some serious decisions to make. If you don't want to be a parent to his kids, he doesn't want to prioritize communicating with you about their needs and how to raise them. Maybe this is not the right relationship for any of you. He did not let you know any of this was happening until the last minute. You find his children challenging and don't want to care for them. The adults need to rethink this whole living arrangement. If you and your boyfriend are not on the same page, the children will suffer for it. NTA, and you need to think carefully about this relationship. Wow, cool. He has a live-in maid for his troublesome kids. Well, he can't volunteer for work trips. Can he? I mean, even if all of these kids were your kids, he couldn't possibly do it. I think he should come home when he's supposed to have them. Or you try to manage and reevaluate your relationship. Lady, you are NTA. NTA. The purpose of the kids being there is to spend time with their father while he is actually parenting. If he isn't home, there is no point. NTA, this is a serious issue. You definitely should have been consulted. This is not a day. Even then you should have been consulted. This is 5 days. NTA, that's a huge big red flag. NTA, you didn't adopt or birth them, so they're not yours, but his. That's just the truth. No matter how he wants to manipulate facts to guilt you into complying. You were the last to know because he knew it was an unreasonable request and that you'd protest. So he waited until there was just no other way to do this without significant trouble. Denying you the possibility of options is another method of manipulating, controlling you. And this isn't a forced situation, but one he volunteered for. You don't have to be forced into watching his children. Accept for his decision to make it happen. These are some really big red flags for your relationship as a whole. So maybe contact the mom to watch her actual, not implied, kids and use those 10 days to reflect on the health of your situation. NTA, tell him you ain't watching and it's toxic to leave kids with you without asking. Find somewhere to stay with your kid away from your husband before he leaves and he'll take care of his own issues. It doesn't work that way. Extremely rude and out of line. NTA, he is. They are his kids. Do you honestly believe for a second he sees your child as his? He's incredibly presumptuous to just assume you will provide free child care for him just because you're in a relationship. I'm afraid it will only get worse from here. I would end this now before you're worn down to a nub and your child is wetting the bed from the stress of living with these people. NTA, he absolutely should have asked you first. The fact that he volunteered to leave when he knew it was his custody time and didn't run past you at all screams major red flags. Be very cautious op. There are some men that rush into a relationship after a divorce, death of spouse just to make sure someone else is taking on their childcare responsibilities. He's already trying to claim the children are shared when you're not even married. Oh hell no. Definitely NTA.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.